The Velma show on HBO Max has released recently and has gotten a lot of attention, but not the kind of attention I'm sure they would prefer to have. Most people that have seen it do not like it, for critics and audience alike, especially on Rotten Tomatoes, just in general, Twitter. Everywhere, most people don't seem to like the show, and for very good freaking reasons down here. The standards seem to be getting lower and lower ever since TLJ came out. Everybody thought that one was pretty bad. Same with Ghostbusters 2016, stuff like that. But man, the bar has been getting lower and lower since then. I almost missed that bad level of quality. I'd rather have that level compared to the Book of Boba Fett's, the Kenobis, the She-Hulks, Velma now. Oh my god. I was born in the 90s, and Scooby Doo was a show that I would watch on occasion. It wasn't one of the top shows that I would watch, but it was something to have on that I was okay with watching here and there as a kid. I preferred the movies, though. The Zombie Island, especially. I remember that the most as a kid. I remember the songs with that one were pretty good. There was that one with the alien chick, that movie. Those ones seem to have pretty good quality. A lot of the movies, I'd say, had better quality than the show, of course. One, they have a movie budget. Two, it's usually Shaggy and Scoob rather than the whole gang sometimes. But one of the many ridiculous things with the Velma show is when you're watching it, the characters that they're portraying here are nothing like the characters from Scooby Doo. This is supposed to be like, their version of this show here, but also without Scooby Doo. And all the characters that are in the show are nothing like their actual characters that they're supposed to be based off of, which makes you think, why didn't they just make their own show with original characters and have the same premise essentially? Like, honestly, as they are, like, if you didn't know that this was based off of the Scooby Doo type of show, like if you didn't know that going in, you might not guess that this is Scooby Doo because this has no traits that are familiar enough other than some of the vagueness of the clothing. But it's a point where this isn't even a good type of parody, it isn't a good upgrade, reboot, anything. It's just, why even bother? You're just kind of riding on the coattails of an existing fan base, of which I've seen this type of discourse on Twitter where some people are like, wow, all these random Scooby-Doo fans are coming out of nowhere. My response would be, just because you like something doesn't mean that you talk about it constantly. As far as I can tell, there hasn't been too many Scooby-Doo related things to talk about in the ether of things, among other stuff. There's been plenty of other things that people are probably more interested in or more interested in not liking but still want to talk about. I'm not sure if this is a hot take, but Scooby Doo is just kind of like a who done it of the week, a different monster, or not a different monster, but it's a who done it of the week pretty much for the show. I found the laugh track to be very annoying in the old show, but regardless, it had a sense of charm. There was a sense of style to it that was unique to it at that time. And I don't know, there's something, it's one of those time capsule things, and it kept on going. It's one of those franchises that never really died. It kept on going. It eventually got its own movies, of course, and then it got live action movies later on. They had these Scooby Doo, and like they're like kids at one point, I think. They had a couple different spin-off type of ones that they were doing. They'd always have different celebrities in them. It was just one of those shows that just kept on having some kind of life, just a very simple premise, very simple characters, and would keep on chugging along. And from what I could tell, whenever it was parodied, it was always in kind of the good type of spirit that that they like the show in some way or are critiquing something about it. But this type of show with Velma, everything they do in it is just making fun of either the show itself and the characters they're supposed to be, people that watch the show, or and they're just very meta. Every joke is like they're just looking at you, going, "We're commenting on something, and we're expecting you to be doing this, even though we're characters." And they're it's like, fucking, I mean, some shows have that, sure, but they have usually, I'd say, a measured amount of times that they do that kind of a thing, or that they are having more than one reference to something in the show, like South Park. One of the episodes, he's like, we're two privileged white boys doing something, and out of other people laughing at other people's expense, which could be representation of Trey and Matt in the show when it was Cartman and Butters, but that's a secondary thing that could be there, or it completely isn't, and it's not looking at you. It's not so out of, it doesn't take you out enough to where it looks like they're looking at you as they're saying it. It's just something said in the scene that you could read more into, maybe. But with this show, there's like no subtlety at all here. It just comes off as bitter. I'm not sure that's a better way to describe it. I think it's just a bitter show. Like, it's just it really doesn't like a lot of people, and the show is meant to facilitate all these different things that it doesn't like, essentially, is what it comes off as. But anyway, I don't have that much else to say on it, honestly. I don't know if I'll talk about this too much more, though. I just might, because Black Angus Reviews and I are going to be watching it every Thursday before his show on his channel. And go catch us on there. All American Beef is back Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific time. So, yeah, with that, have a great rest of your day.